so nice to be here with you on the Selfcare Diaries and actually have the opportunity to interview you, the queen of self-care. And I just thought I should ask you a few questions in terms of your journeys. What got you involved into speaking, training, coaching? How did that journey start?
Sure, Yoka. It's so awesome to be with you today, and thank you for taking the time and the effort. Your you've always have such amazing focus on excellence, and I really want to honor you for that. So thank you very much. What has brought me to your to speaking about self-care? I think my my own journey as an addict, right? So next month in September, I celebrate 13 years of being sober and clean, which is thank you, which is like crazy. I mean, I didn't even think I'd make 3 days when I first got clean and sober. Um, and being an addict and just having no self-care and basically wanting to kill myself slowly with
Sure.
eating and drinking. And then I came into recovery and I thought, you know what, I really see how my life can impact and help other people. And so I've been on this long journey in the last 13 years of seeing different relationship coaches, psychiatrists, psychologists, money coaches, business coaches, sales coaches, uh, what other coaches have I seen? A therapist, I said, and just trying to really understand myself and really understand. And then I've studied coaching. I studied coaching at SACAP, South African College of Applied Psychology. I've done a professional coaching certificate through Inner Life Skills, and I'm busy with a master's coaching through them as well, which I'm loving. It's really amazing. So and over the last 25 years, Yoka, I've studied like medical journals and as textbooks, you know, psychological textbooks, spiritual texts, and self-help books, and I've really gone and delved into the understanding of why do we treat ourselves so badly? Why are we so unkind to ourselves? So why are we so unkind to ourselves? And I, you know, we come from a an era of women moving out of the space of being homemakers only and into the corporate space, and the example that we've received with regard as women to look after ourselves hasn't moved with the times. You know, women that were working at home were working hard, and our mothers put us their children ahead of themselves and their husbands, and so we modeled that and came into the workspace, and now we're super moms, we're super corporate cats, and we're burnt out. You know, most of us are burnt out. So or have been or have experienced burnout to some extent. So about 2 years ago, I decided, you know what, I've lived in recovery for, it was then about 11 years. I've been working with addicts. I had a practice where I was working with sex addicts. I've been working with alcoholics, drug addicts, eating disordered people, and I thought there's so much grace and wisdom in this material that I'm learning that relates to addicts. And if it can touch the lives of 10% of the population, how much more can I touch the rest of the people's lives? And how much more can this inspire, empower, and transform people's lives? So that's really been my mission. The last 2 years, I feel like I got a word from God saying, right, you're going to start a revolution, and it's going to be a self-care revolution, and you're going to have an amazing tribe of people around you. And Yoka, you one, you know, we do it together. It's not my revolution, it's our revolution. And yeah, we've been doing some incredible work and changing people's lives. It's been quite astounding.
So it sounds like your mission has really been to move away from just one person to actually like impacting a much wider group of people. Hey, Leigh?
Yes, I sat in Dr. John DeMartini's year-end event here in Joburg last year, and they were doing, him and Brian Walsh were doing an amazing event where we had to look at our mission, our vision, and our purpose. And I know that self-care is my purpose. I know that that's where, I've been pitched as one of the pioneers in this space, and that's very exciting. And and Dr. John DeMartini said, you've got to have a grand vision. So I was like, okay, dude, like, God, like, show me, what vision do you want? Because I've seen in my life when I'm self-willed and I do things the way I think it must be, it doesn't work out. So I was like, dude, what do you want me to do? Tell me, give me a vision, and I know you're going to help me, give me the tools and the people to help me get there. What is it? And I just hear Dr. John DeMartini say, it has to be a grand vision. It has to be a vision that you feel you might not be able to achieve. And the next thing I see this number arc across my brain saying 1,000,000. I'm like, God, 1,000,000 what?
Pounds.
Yeah, exactly. Pounds. No. I was like, 1,000,000 people. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, 1,000,000 people what? And he's like, your self-care revolution. You are going to touch 1,000,000 people's lives. And I'm like, by when? He's like, by 2025. I just saw like 2025. I was like, well, you're almighty and you run this whole show. So if you say we can do it, then we can do it. So yes, let's go touch 1,000,000 people's lives by 2025. And so you and Lauren and my self-care ambassadors and Grant and a whole lot of people have bought into this vision, and we're slowly but surely impacting thousands of lives. And we're learning that sometimes we're going to plant the seed of self-care with somebody. Another time, somebody else would have planted the seed, but we're cultivating that seed. So we adding more information, giving them more education around what self-care is. And then the third person might come along, and that person we're harvesting self-care. So they're taking action, and they're ready, and they come for coaching or they come for our workshops, but they're ready to take action and really action what it means to have great self-care.
So Leigh, you're talking about planting the seeds and harvesting the plants of self-care, but some people might not even know what self-care means. What is that seed of self-care or that awareness that you can bring to people?
That's such a great question, because when I sit with men, I'm like, so what's your self-care like? And they're like, I go for a run, and I have a beer with my mates and a braai on the weekend. And I'm like, Oaks, like, seriously, like, yeah, cool, like having a beer and going for a run is great self-care, but it's not the only self-care that's available. I mean, we talk about self-care with different dimensions. So there's physical self-care, and that's got to do with how you eat, breathing techniques, drinking water, physical exercise, or dancing. I hate exercise. Yay, here's my water too. Cheers. um, Exercise or movement, which I prefer to call it. Then you get spiritual self-care, and there one doesn't have to be religious or even spiritual for that matter. One can be agnostic, but where do you lean? What parts of your life do you lean into for inspiration? Where are you able to surrender how you think things should be and let go of your idea, and let that which is greater than you help you serve? Then there's social self-care, and how do we like that, how do we teach people how to treat us, the boundaries, that kind of thing. Then there's emotional self-care. You were talking about the seeds of awareness. How do I connect deeply with myself? Like, what kinds of limiting core beliefs do I have? What kind of way do I speak to myself? How compassionate am I with myself? What parts of my life need healing? What trauma or grief have I been through that needs deep empathy and needs to be brought to the surface so that I can heal those parts? Mental self-care, if I've got a mental disorder or a disability, like I've got bipolar, so there's certain things that I need to do to ensure that I can manage that. Like I must take my medication, I must sleep well, I must get some exercise, I must eat well, and most importantly, I've started to realize that what I put into my system is really, really important. So what kind of social media am I ingesting?
I love that. I love that. It's not just eating, it's actually the media you consume, even the social media, the stories, the movies. Wow.
Exactly. Because what goes in, I mean, our minds, our eyes are like our mouths to our emotional body, right? So if I mean, the gut has recently been seen as the brain of the body, in the sense that whatever you put into your tummy is how it affects us emotionally. So the same is with how we ingest and what we ingest from a social media or movies or books. Like what are we depositing into our systems? So that's, yeah, and then that's mental. So I've done social, physical, emotional. Yeah, those are the different aspects of self-care. And
Last night, there was such an interesting topic that was spoken about, and I actually thought of your self care work that you do, because the psychologist that spoke referred to recent research that proves that if you have love or affection or a tribe in your life, it actually has physiological benefits. So your body will heal faster, and you will spiritually, mentally, and emotionally be able to cope better in life. And that doesn't just mean like romantic love, it could actually mean having a support buddy at work. So, do you encourage support in the work environment? Actually, people having friendships and people supporting each other, does that element play a role in self care as well?
definitely, I was just looking here for a quote by Brené Brown, which I mean, I'm
Mm.
love Brene Brown, but she speaks here about uh, resilient people. And she says, if you look at the current research, here are 5 of the most common factors of resilient people. They are resourceful and have good problem solving skills. They are more likely to seek help. They hold the belief that they can do something that will help them to manage their feelings and to cope. They have a social support available to them, and they are connected to others, such as family or friends. Now, Yoka, out of 3 of the 5, it's got to do with connecting to other people. The one is you're more likely to seek help, so they ask help from other people. The other one is they have a social support around them and available to them. And the third thing is they're connected to others, such as family and friends. So in the self-care tripod model that I've devised, there's a section called tribe care. And as part of the tribe care, we encourage people to connect with somebody at the office that can become their care partner or accountability partner, somebody that they can go to and not necessarily download about what's happening at home, but just somebody that can feed back to them how important they are within the organization, and just help them stay on track with what the projects are at the office, and just really bolster each other.
What are your thoughts, Leigh, on affirmations? Do you think they work, and do you have any advice for the people out there regarding affirmations and how it can help them, if you think it can help them?
So awesome question, because I swear by affirmations. For 2 reasons. One, I had postnatal depression when my daughter was, well, with both my kids, but the situation I want to talk about is with my daughter 8 years ago. And one of the reasons I really firmly believe that I got out of that state of depression was that I wrote daily affirmations. I did a gratitude journal. I did a number of different things that eventually helped me get out of it. And I think it was 4 years ago, I did Louisa Hay's Heal Your Life weekend workshop. And the lady that runs it, I think her name is Ashika. Singh, I think that's her name. She's brilliant. I was actually interviewing her for the Selfcare Diaries, maybe. And she runs she runs the franchise for Louisa Hay here in Africa. And I ran her course, and there they taught us about the power of
Affirmations.
thank you. And beginning of last year, I had a very big operation, and I used 5 affirmations, which were: my body has a remarkable capacity for healing. Secondly, every resource I need for my healing comes to me. Thirdly, I commit my mind to focusing on positive, healthy, loving thoughts. Fourth, I'm glad to be alive. And 5, I'm having a love affair with life. So those were the 5 affirmations that I keep them here, and I kept with me for those 6 to 8 weeks that I needed to heal. And my healing was amazing. I mean, I was off my pain medication super quickly. I was able to move around much quicker than most people. And I really believe that when so in recovery, in the AA fellowship, we taught to fake it till we make it. And I do believe that there are times that that's important, but I think that intrinsically one needs to believe, like I need to believe that I'm glad to be alive. Like to have an affirmation, but if you don't believe it, I don't think it has as much power. So what's the other one? Every resource I need for my healing comes to me. Like I needed to believe that that was available in order for that affirmation to mean something to me. So whilst I understand fake it till you make it, I do believe that people need to have an intrinsic understanding of belief. You know, it's for in order for it to work.
And with your coaching clients, so you've obviously done a lot of one-on-one work and group work. Have you ever done work around limiting core beliefs? There's quite a lot of people that speak about that, specifically in NLP, the areas that I'm in. How is that aligned to self-care and transformation work?
It's probably the crux of the work that I do. Yeah, okay. In offering, you know, I did a process with Google. I worked with their office, and it was all women, and it was the heads of departments in Africa and the UAE. So really top-notch ladies, and I mean, I understand why Google is the brand that it is. I mean, it's seriously amazing women, and I was so blown away by their wanting to be open and vulnerable with each other and to share deeply what their limiting core beliefs were. And to sit there and see these powerhouse women, I mean, really like top of their game, sit and look at each other with, my God, I didn't realize you were going through the same thing as me. I didn't realize that you and I felt the same. And it was so powerful to see this experience of the energy in the room just change. With there was such compassion and such deep empathy with each other, and a real desire to want to help each other grow and heal. And understanding limiting core beliefs, it has that power, because it's the filter and the lens through which we look at our lives, you know, our limiting core beliefs. I've got 3. Mine are: I'm not wanted, I'm not seen, and I'm not loved. And those 3 limiting core beliefs stem from different parts of my life. The one, I was given up for adoption, so I felt unwanted. My adoptive parents didn't love me, so I felt unloved. And I also, there were 4 of us, and their own 2 children were, in a sense, more important to them, so I felt unseen. So I grew up and did all these different things, taking drugs, sleeping with men, you know, because I wanted to be seen, and I wanted to be loved, and I wanted to be wanted. And so like me, these ladies were able to look at themselves and go, my God, my whole life is filtered through these limiting core beliefs. And if I can find somebody that I trust and respect that can feed back to me like what that I am wanted, I am seen, and I am loved, and I can say that to myself. And thirdly, I can speak to that which is sacred to me and ask that which is sacred to me to feed that back to me. And from those three places, I deeply connected to myself, deeply connected to another, and deeply connected to the sacred. That's where that tripod model for me has the power. That's the center, that's the crux of the power of this, of the tripod model.
I can really hear that you're so passionate about this. Leigh, what inspires you to do the work that you do?
I think it comes back to my limiting core beliefs. For such a long time, I would be in a room full of people and feel so lonely. I would have achieved something but felt so worthless. I've, you know, I drove a Z4. I lived in a massive house. I was traveling all over the world with my husband. And yet I was getting stoned and banged up on booze every day. Like there was just, and then I came into recovery, and I've had the gift of becoming really conscious and healing a lot of the trauma that I've been through. And I think what inspires me is that if I can hold space for another person, if I can hold space for another woman to sit there and for her to touch the essence of who she is and to see the beauty and grace that she is, like that does it for me. That really, really does it for me. So I get up every day being able to see, where's God going to send me today? Who's he going to bring in front of me? Who is it that he's going to want me to inspire, empower, and help transform? So that's the one thing that inspires me. The other thing that inspires me is I've been through quite an interesting process now during lockdown where what I think is success has been challenged. And for the longest time, I've thought that earning, what I earn is a barometer of how successful I am. And with COVID, things obviously went pear-shaped, and the speaking gigs that I had were all cancelled, and the last 5-6 months I haven't been speaking, so a big part of my business has tanked, if you will. So if I had to go and look at whether I'm successful or not, I would assume no, because I'm not earning the kind of money that I'm used to earning. And then I said to God, but surely that's not where success lies. Success can't lie on what is my income. So then somebody said to me, impact. Impact is where your success lies. So then I was like, okay, but how do you measure impact? People talk about ROI, but how do you measure ROI? Like, how do you measure return on investment with regards to personal development? I mean, and then God said to me, if you take a stone and you throw it in a river, it makes those concentric circles. That's your impact. You will touch one person will touch 3 people, those 3 people will touch 5 people. So I was like, but God, how do I measure that impact? I can't measure that impact. It's immeasurable. You can't. So he says, exactly. Your success is not determined by your impact. So I was like, dude, okay, so then how? Like, how do I, because I'm a metrics girl. I want to I'm an 8-type.
Tell me what to do.
Like, if you tell me if I feel successful, then it's fine, but I need to see, I need to experience. So these 2 things weren't working for me. So then I said to God, I need to know what success is. And there's just crickets. It was quiet. And I was like, you're waiting for me to come up with what I think is success, right? So he's like, uh-huh. And I was like, he's like, when are you your happiest? And I was like, well, honestly, I'm I'm actually my happiest when I get out of my own way. So he's like, yeah. And I'm like, when when I'm an instrument for your grace and your mercy and your love, and I step out of the way and you can flow through me and you create through me, that's like when I'm the happiest. So he's like, well, but that's your definition of success then. And that's what I've been focusing on. I've been focusing on creating, this YouTube channel, which is really fun. I've been working on a podcast with Nick Smith. We've got a Me 2.0 Real and Authentic, and there we interviewed real and authentic people. We've got Mark Sham coming up on that. I'm hoping to get Mark Sham for Selfcare Diaries as well. Lauren's teasing me saying that I'm stalking him. Well, I am. And then our Feminine Leadership Summit, online summit, goes live this Sunday, which we're super excited about. And people will be able
I was about to ask you about that.
Yes.
Are you speaking there as well, right?
So I am speaking on that, and then I'm hosting it as well. One of the organizers were Beth Schneider and Liz Barrow. It's been life-changing. It's been so amazing. And that's the Feminine Leadership Summit, which is an online summit. The funds go, all the monies we raise for that summit go to 3 charities. So one is Tree Sisters, the other one who plants forests around the world. Then there's Caring for Girls, who donate sanitary wear to young schoolgirls. And then there is Frida Hartley, which is a shelter, in a women's shelter, women's and children's shelter in Yeovil, Johannesburg. So those are the 3. So that's where, and then the membership online, membership site that I'm busy building, and then a book that I'm writing. So I've really been creating like a lot of stuff over lockdown, and it's been an amazing process to be part of this creating. I feel like I'm building a shop with like all these different goodies that people can come by, and soon enough I'll be ready to put them all out there.
So last thing that I want to know, if you could give the viewers just one tip of one thing that you would want them to try out in self-care, what would that be?
I think the thing that would offer them the most help in their lives was to give themselves a chance to get support, not to think that they can do it on their own. So to offer them the opportunity to invest in a coach or a therapist, or somebody, a counselor, whatever, whoever they feel called to speak to, but find somebody that can hold space for them to develop self-awareness and to heal different parts of their lives. I mean, a lot of shitty things have happened to a lot of us, right? And unfortunately, a lot of people stay in victim and blame, and they don't move out of that space and heal and go on to live productive lives. So my invitation really is to say, okay, cool, some shitty things happened. That's not my fault. I'm not to blame. Stop blaming themselves, but to take responsibility and acknowledge that it's our responsibility to heal. So it might have not been my fault that the things happened to me, rape and molestation and all these different things, but it is my responsibility to heal. So if there's one gift I would like to give people, is give yourself permission to find somebody to help you heal and grow.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It was so nice to get to know you so much more, Leigh. And it's such an honor to be part of your tribe and impacting the 1 million people as you do with your self-care tripod model, your book that's coming, your kits that's available on your website, your coaching, your speaking, your training. And I'm really excited to actually follow you on the summit and to see what you've been up to.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sitting down with me, and I'm looking forward to our workshop that's coming end of the year. What dates are you planning that for?
So our workshop is coming up in November. I forget the date, but people will be able to go and have a look on Leigh Joy Inspires on Facebook, or on my website, www.leigh.co.za. leigjoy.co.za, and you'll be able to find all the information there about workshops, or just drop me an email and we'll send you some info. But yeah, I'm very excited about that. We're hoping to do it one in person and one online. I went to the venue yesterday and it's stunning. It's really stunning. We're planning to do massages and do like a whole pamper day for women. So I'm looking forward to that.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for today.
Yeah, thank you too. Such an honor to be with you. Thank you, my friend.